There. Now you should be able to hear me.
And now they can see you as well. Turn down the music though.
You were not wrong, Maddie.
Alright, there you go, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you. How's everyone doing? Invisible voice. Can you not see me?
Well, you were on
Okay.
the starting screen for
I
started talking to
see.
them.
I see. Okay. That's fine. Hello, Gunnar, and we got Milu, Maddie, Mushu, Quirt, and Aaron. Who else has popped in? If I can get this mouse to work, that would be great. Mega King. Accidental Existence.
You might
Me
not
too.
remember Mega King, but Mega King has been in before. I think it was for your stream, so it's been a while. I think it's been almost Mega King, it's been almost 6 months since you've been in here. Maybe not 6 months, but it was last year sometime.
Erin says it's bedtime, so she might be lurking. You're gonna go shower? Okay, go shower. We will give a few minutes for people to trickle in here. Hey, Teresa. Hello. Oh, there's Erin. You didn't sleep yet? I hope all is well. It's warm. I wanted to be cozy, so I wore my sweater. But it was a bad idea. You missed the sun? See, it was way too hot here today. You need warmth? Oh no, poor Erin. Out there freezing. Well, thank you, Shadow, for subscribing for 60 months in a row. That's insane. Insane.
Absolutely.
It was sunny for you, Milu? You hate ice and snow? I've been seeing a lot of videos about the parking wars because someone will shovel a spot for themselves and then somebody else will take it. Hello from Colorado. Is it snowing over there still? Hello, Marsha. Welcome in.
Okay.
Right
He's just like, I'm not gonna move no matter what. I'm gonna stay right here.
He's a dork. I don't know what to tell you. You're gonna fight someone. Hopefully I can stay awake for the whole stream this time. You keep falling asleep. I mean, sleep's important. Sleep is important, so if you need to get some rest, then go ahead and do that. You're gonna go back into the cold? I hope we get back into the cold, if you can call Los Angeles cold. It does get cooler if you're like next to the coast, but we have the hills kind of blocking that cold air from getting over here, because in the valley, the heat sits in there and it settles and doesn't want to go away. Take my cold on. I would love to. I would love to. It's sunny and warm in Colorado. All right. See, winter's just going away quick.
Sunny and warm in Colorado is crazy.
Yeah. I would definitely think for just turning into February, it would still be snowing out there. The cold that freezes your bones. Well, that's why you stay inside. It's 19 degrees, but it feels like 9. Is it windy? I like it when it's cold, but I don't really love the wind. And hello, Bear. Welcome in. I can have your cold too. Like I said, I'll take it. I will take it.
Will you stop whining?
See, but if you still lived out here, then...
Stop whining. You got work to do.
Baby, what's the matter?
You know
What is the matter?
Hey.
It's okay. So dramatic.
Milo's here,
He
everybody.
still has coffee on him.
I know, I can smell it.
He's gonna lick it off of himself and get a caffeine high. Yeah, the wildfires is definitely not something that I look forward to. Oh, Skjor the Black, welcome in. Yes, it is a big kitty cat. He is getting big. And he's not done growing. He's
not even a year old yet.
Yeah, I think he'll be a year old in March. I think. You had 4 days of summer weather? Yeah. You're gonna go sleep now? Okay. Get some sleep. Take some vitamin D supplements. Oh, really? You haven't had much of a winter at all? That's crazy. To me, that seems bizarre for Colorado, but maybe I just don't know any better. I sent you some of South Carolina snow. You didn't get it. Tragic. Of course, Maddie, of course. And grass. I miss grass. I never thought I'd say that. You're allergic to grass? That's unfortunate. Can you grow any indoor plants? Possibly? It helps. I have a few sprinkled in here just to feel like I have some nature around me. But I also live right next to a freeway. So I don't enjoy really hanging out outside because I just listen to that if I'm sitting out there. So I'm like, I'll just bring a few plants in here. It's unfortunate. The entire Northwest is in drought conditions. I mean, California's in that state perpetually, so I totally understand. We were not in 2025. Was it 2025 or 2024? Where we were surrounded by 3 huge fires.
Yeah, that was last year.
Yeah. Yeah, it was last year. Because for whatever reason, our governor decided to drain the reservoir out here. I don't know why, considering we always need water. But it was drained, and the firefighting force was not as strong as it needs to be, so people suffered for sure. A lot of houses were lost. You gotta spruce up the indoors, Aaron. It is very odd for Colorado. Okay. What I thought. In the teens here for days. It gets to the low 30s here.
Careful.
When it's actually cold.
This is very hot.
Okay, thank you. But that's about as cold as we can expect unless we get up to higher elevations. Oh yeah, it depends on where you are. California is a big state and it has very different elevations. We are in the low elevation, so unfortunately we do not get the snow. Out in the desert, you obviously get some snow and ice, but I greatly dislike the desert because it has those extremes. It gets super duper 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 hot and also super duper 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 cold in the ways that you don't want to deal with it. Like, I don't know. Doesn't seem worth it. It is hot. This is very hot, both Castle and my mom. Yep. Mom, if the spaghetti is hot, will it pose for me like a French lady? Wow. Already making the dad jokes. It's been in the negatives for you, Alex? Wow. Yeah, gosh, we need some of that cold to come over here. But literally, if we drive over the hill right next to us, it will be at least 10 degrees cooler because the ocean's right there. I can hear the side eye, yes. Yes. You have snow. Oh, okay, North Carolina got snow. Is that rain? Is that a G or a Y? It kind of looks almost closed to my eyes, but it's very small. So I hope I got that right. But yeah, North Carolina, it would be snowing still. I mean, we got a few days of rain. It is rain? Okay, thank you. Good, I'm glad I got it right. You can't smoke inside, that's true, but you could just not smoke.
Well, Rain changed her name.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, Rain's a regular on TikTok. So.
Okay, so that's why I didn't recognize.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Just changed the
yes,
format
I did,
of the
Maddie.
name.
Sorry, I just didn't respond because I got distracted by something and forgot.
Yeah, see, Rain Adams.
Got it.
There you go.
Hello and welcome back. Yeah, you know, I told you my brain just sometimes it goes in different directions. So I will very frequently read a message, intend to message back, and forget because I'm literally trying to think about 5 different things at once. "30 years of a habit is very hard to break. Very hard to break. Yeah, another friend of mine, he had been smoking for decades and he got off of them, but he switched to vaping.
Whenever I come up close to her and I'm talking to her, I whisper because
the sensitivity is up very high
the
for me.
sensitivity is way up. So if I speak at my normal volume that close to the mic, everybody's ears are bleeding. Nobody's going to be hearing anything after that point.
I totally get that. Oh my god, it's nuts. Yep. Last weekend we had freezing rain, so hail, or just very cold?
Freezing rain is where the wind is too high for it to actually turn into hail, and it's just above freezing.
Okay.
So the wind factor makes it colder.
Got it.
It's not quite cold enough to freeze.
That would be uncomfortable. Sorry I didn't do my pleasantries earlier. That's fine. Run around, do what you gotta do. Hello, Sean. Welcome in. Colorado, you are welcome to our snow. And Wisconsin? Wait. Oh, because there isn't snow in Colorado right now. So, I have family out in Wisconsin. Extended family. I had to break 4 inches ice off my driveway with a pickaxe on Monday. Oh my gosh. See, I would just not leave the house. Sleet? Yeah, right. Sleet. Forgot about that word because we don't get any. We'll have weird moments where we'll have maybe like 20 seconds of hail and then that's it. Like, it's just, California's bizarre sometimes, or at least where we are. If you go up into Northern Cali, it's a little more predictable. And Alex says, "Salutation, Tavern Keeper Castle." I don't know why I couldn't say that. And hello, and welcome in. And welcome to the tavern. The Monster? The Monster. Got it. The Monster. Oh, hilarious, Maddie. Hilarious. You're originally from Rhode Island, Rain, and Massachusetts. Or Maine. Massachusetts. MA is Massachusetts, right? Maine is ME? Sorry.
I can never remember the abbreviations for the states.
Yeah, I think MI is...
Is that Minnesota or Michigan?
Michigan. Maine is ME, okay. Trying to remember, it's been a while since I've done any geography. I know where everything is, but the acronyms, sometimes all the M ones get confusing because we got Missouri and Mississippi. Hello, Fiend Joker, welcome back. MA, Massachusetts, ME, Maine, yeah. That's what I figured. Okay. We are on chapter 6 of the book, by the way. Now that we have waited for everyone to trickle in, I think we could probably start getting towards reading. It is really confusing, yes. Iowa gets you? Oh, you're confused with Indiana? Yes, I can understand that. Pairing socks is a nightmare. It's my least favorite thing to do when I'm doing laundry. Because somehow 90% of them will be missing its pair. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. I'm in for Minnesota. Right, okay. Hello, Cassie. Welcome in. But yes, pairing socks is not fun. The dryer needs its tax. I mean, you know, at this point, I'm convinced the goblins are stealing them. Yes, Canada and California sharing the acronym.
Good evening, Sior. You should probably run your ads over on Twitch so you can get reading.
Okay, I will run the ads.
So, yeah, the 3-minute one.
Yes, thank you. Over here mansplaining. Just kidding.
That's what I do.
I kid.
I am a professional.
We like to tease each other whenever we do anything remotely towards the what people like to complain about, because we actually don't complain about each other's habits. I might tease Castle about his sense of time and distance. He does not have any sense of direction, unfortunately, but it's a good thing I do.
Well, just my ability to gauge how long a task will take is terrible.
Yes.
Like if I say, oh, I'll be done in an hour, you can assume it's 3 times that. It'll probably be about 3 times that, because in my head I'm very optimistic. I'm like, I know how to do this and I'm pretty good at it, so it should only take me about an hour. Doesn't matter that standardly that task should take about 3 hours.
He'll be like, I'm gonna go record videos. I'll be back in an hour, and I'm like, you mean 3?
Yeah.
You mean 3? That's generally the conversion.
In my defense, usually that's because of technical difficulties. Not always, but like 70% of the time, it's a technical difficulties issue.
Or how about the other night when I was like, are you gonna come to bed soon? You're like, yeah, I'll be there in a few minutes. 4 hours later.
Yeah, that one I just fell asleep on my feet though. Like that one. That one I didn't even realize that was
Man time is worse than woman time. Sometimes. I think it just depends on what they're doing, maybe. That's funny. We had somebody come in. Their name is Touch Grass, and Erin was saying that she would like to touch grass again.
That is funny.
Even though she's allergic. I'm from DE, not the state. So not Delaware. What is DE?
Denmark?
Denmark? No.
No.
Be a strange time for you to be awake. What would DE be? You are. Is it actually Denmark? Now Mushu has to tell us.
I think so. Yeah. DE is the country code for Denmark.
Isn't it like in the wee hours of the morning out there, or is it already morning? Like morning.
Oh, Germany, Deutschland. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's a double entendre because you don't touch much outdoor grass. That's funny. We had a heat wave today, a whole 28 degrees Fahrenheit. Nice. There you go. I mean, I'd take that. I would love that right now. I'm sweating. I made a really bad decision wearing this sweater. But I'm like, can't we just pretend it's winter in California? Or Southern California? You know geography? Oh, good. I'm glad, Maddie.
Mushu says, I'm from Germany, but I live in Idaho. It's quite a change.
I see you touch grass. You're not touching the grass, but you're smoking the grass. Challenge, Maddie. ES. España? Sorry, that was for Maddie. Mega King is back. Welcome back. And welcome in Thorny King.
Get all kinds
Got
of
lots of
royalty
kings in
following
here.
you, yeah.
Just collecting all of the royalty.
Hosting a diplomatic summit, are you?
Blessed Imbolc to you as well, Rain. Thank you. Joker says my weekend was good. I was with my friend watching a pay-per-view. Pay-per-view is still a thing? I don't have cable.
You and I also just don't watch much television as it is, so.
I mean, gosh, I remember pay-per-view.
Thorny King says came over from Facebook.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome from Facebook. We do have a lot more activity in our Twitch chat. Like, most of the people are chatting over there. So if you want to be in on the whole conversation, it's usually easier to be on that platform. That's what I was thinking, Molly Zoom. Like, what, pay-per-view is still a thing? But Castle was telling me earlier, apparently there's, 40,000 people still using AOL dial-up?
Yeah.
Which is insane to me. You'd rather be in Southern California? Again, like, if I was right over the hill, next to the coast, I bet it's very nice right now.
I'll trade you, Sean.
Yeah.
Put me in the freezer, please.
Dying.
Do you want me to get you an ice pack for your back?
Yeah. I should just go change my top. In super rural areas, they rely on dial-up. See, I thought that they would just do satellite. But what do I know? I don't live in a rural area, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, you realistically could, but you have to imagine that most of the people on dial-up are over the age of 50 for the most part.
Right, like people who didn't want to change the system.
And some of them don't even know that you can. Like, some of them are just like,
Just living out in the boonies.
I've been spending $8 a month on AOL since 1995, so this is my internet now. Do you want it down your sweater or do you want it under your sweater?
I'm gonna put it on my stomach.
I got you two.
You just get me.
That's right.
That's good. They won't last long, but it feels good for a moment. I've been reading a new book recently called Between Shades of Grey. Does it have anything to do with 50 Shades of Grey? Scandinavian folks get kind of used to the cold. I would suppose you'd have to. It is about the Soviet and hope. Okay. Then I would find that more interesting than 50 Shades of Grey.
It
whatever
is,
the sequels are.
It is.
Yes, it is. It's the Black Dragon Tavern hoodie. It just got washed, so I was like, oh, I want to wear it. And now I'm getting it all stinky and gross. I'm sure you guys wanted to know that. You're welcome. Right, the noises. I was telling my son about it earlier today. I was describing what that was like, and he was like, oh, I wish we had AOL noises then. I'm like, no. I'm sure it would be a novelty to you for the first few days, and then you would hate it. I've heard so much worse from your end. Well, but not on our streams. Try to keep it nice for the tavern. I don't let out too much of my sass. I think. I'm a really bad judge of that. I can own to that. I just don't see where the line is between too much sass and enough sass or tolerable sass. You looking forward to St. Patrick's Day? Yeah. Well, we won't be having any shenanigans. We actually celebrate what Castle's family calls the Festival of Lights. Which is definitely a much different approach to St. Patrick's Day, because on the final day, which lands on St. Patrick's Day, it's actually a day of silence. Dial-up screeching noises? Yeah, don't miss them. Yeah, why would you? Right, today we're actually reading Child of the Prophecy by Juliette Marie. We allow the community to decide what we're going to read. We do have books in the works, and Castle actually has a fantasy series that is chosen by the community. So there's 5 characters. Each platform is going to have a different character, and after each of his chapters, the community decides the next choice that the character makes. So it's usually 2 or 3 different choices, and you get to direct the flow of the story, basically. It'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be really great. It's taking a long time to get through it because we spend so much time creating videos for you guys. But he's getting a lot more done. He's almost finished rewriting. We lost actually everything he wrote so far, and the hard drive that died, or got killed rather. It was literally murdered. So he had to rewrite everything, and that's why it didn't come out yet. So we apologize for that, but it is coming, and it will be fun. I'm excited. It's like recording a large RPG. Yeah, basically. It's like D&D en masse. The Festival of Lights, right. Did Maddie miss that part? It's a little bit of coffee, a little bit of hot cocoa. But yeah. So no St. Patrick's Day shenanigans for us. I'm in 2 voices?
Oh, hang on.
What happened? Am I in 2 voices for everybody?
It shouldn't be that way, but it might be. Hang on. Okay,
Why would it do that all of a sudden?
I don't know. No, that's not it.
So not for Twitch.
Okay, it might be an encoding problem for Facebook then. If it's only happening on one platform, then it's the platform, not us.
And hello, Kamian. Silence is torment for you? Well, it's not just about being quiet. Not hear normal voice? Okay. So it's fine for Sean, who's on Facebook, but it wasn't for Marsha. So I wonder what's causing that. Maybe refresh it, Marsha?
Again, it's probably, if it's happening on one platform and only for one person, it's the encoder on their browser that's doing it, so they just need to refresh the page.
Yeah, try refreshing, see if that will get it sorted. Okay. Are we ready? I need to scroll up so I can see when ads are going to start. I actually get claustrophobic. I can try to like will my mind not to freak out, but it's uncomfortable and it makes me grumpy. And even when it's really hot out here and I need to get in a hot car, I'm instantly in a bad mood, so I just try to stay quiet because I'm trying to sort through that. Oh, thank you for the subscription, Touchgrass. Welcome in. We appreciate that a lot. We still have the winter stuff, so you got a Krampus Kringle for your tavern fare. Off to bed for you, Mushu? All right. Good night. Thank you for coming and hanging out for a little bit. You feel that, Maddie? Yeah, it's, I don't mind silence. I like the quiet, but I do not like the confined spaces. 11-hour shift? Woo! All right, get plenty of rest. And have a good day at work. Okay. We are on chapter 6. Fanya has had an interesting time over at Seven Waters so far. She's been getting to know everyone, kind of just keeping an eye on things, trying to understand what makes these people tick. And then she was visited by her grandmother, not in person, but spoken to her. And her grandmother said, excuse me, why have not you done any havoc lately? So she starts a fire. And unfortunately, it does end up causing some damage. I believe one person died. There's several druids who were injured. And one of the daughters of Seven Waters also was injured because she ran into the fire to get her dog. So she's feeling the repercussions of that. She feels very guilty. She's going to have conflicted feelings because she wants to do what her grandmother says for the sake of saving her. And that worked? Okay, good. She wants to save her father, who's being threatened to be killed by her grandmother if she doesn't do what her grandmother says. So, lots of drama in this one. I take it we left the naughty children part out? What? What naughty children? You're kind of okay in an elevator? Elevator's fine. You know, it's temporary, right? I would not enjoy getting stuck in an elevator. Oh, I see. Alright. That's okay, Maddie. Accidents happen.
Going to work.
Alright, go do the things.
Warm, so I might actually go out and walk. At least get some work done.
Why don't you take the child to the gym?
Oh, we're gonna go a little bit later.
You're gonna go later?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, at least you didn't ban everyone by accident. Like the Scorch Queen. As long as you're holding on. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So. She's being tormented by what she's done. And we are moving on to chapter 6. Fire is a fearsome thing. It starts as the merest spark, the tiniest wisp of smoke. It grows and gains power and spreads until it becomes a great conflagration, consuming whatever it can find. Unchecked, it will take all. The destructive force of what I had unleashed terrified me. It was not just the work of the flames themselves, the ruined buildings, the old man snatching his last breath in a smoke-filled nightmare, young ones suffering as they clung to life. It was not just Maeve, who now hovered on the margin between this world and the next. It was the way they were all caught by it. The way the thing that had happened spread as the flames themselves do, to touch and wound every single person at Seven Waters. It was my grandmother. If my grandmother wished me to unsettle the household, and to sow the seed of doubt over their endeavor, she must have thought this a great success. I did not want to consider what my father would have thought. I tried to imagine him using the craft to do what I had just done, but I could not. There was the time they all spoke of, when he had driven the Fingal away from the cove. Men had been drowned because of what he did, but this was different. I watched as the little flickerings of uncertainty spread, as the wretchedness began to show itself in different ways, as the household shifted from the pure hope and inspiration of the Samhain ritual to a mood of anxious introspection. Mealtimes were subdued. Talk was sparse. Small disagreements flared which were not always resolved with speed. Sean was withdrawn and silent. And Aisling busy. Connor remained but one day after the fire, and then departed for the Nemetons, with 4 of his brethren bearing the body of the Ancient One between them on a board. He must break the terrible news to his folk himself, he told Sean quietly, not leave it to reach them through idle talk. Their oldest must be sent on his way with the appropriate ritual, and his body laid to rest where it belonged, under the oaks. It was clear Connor wanted to stay. for though some had recovered quickly, there were still 3 men remaining in Maureen's care, and prospects for the youngest looked grim indeed, unless he could cling on until my Aunt Leodin arrived. Their faith in her healing abilities astonished me. Leodin was only a woman, after all, over a blood or not. What could she do that Maureen and her helpers could not? He would return as soon as he could, Connor said. He knew his injured folk would be offered the sick maintenance due to them both by law and kinship. Meanwhile, he had obligations to those left in the forest, and these he must keep. The chill formality of his words set a distance between him and his nephew that had not been there before. I had thought Connor tireless. I had seen him endure near drowning with an equanimity most men of 1 and 20 would be hard-pressed to summon. But the fire had shaken him. He walked out of Seven Waters leaning heavily on his birch staff, his hood drawn up to shadow his features. There was no reading his expression. The small procession made its way down the path under the winter trees and away. Connor had not spoken to me since the night of the fire. Whether he knew, whether he guessed, or whether he had simply been too distracted to notice me, there was no way of telling. Maureen was a strong girl, though she was such a little thing. In the sick room she ordered all, and there was constant activity. Women sponged fevered brows, changed dressings, brewed concoctions of herbs over the fire. Men brought firewood and carried buckets. But the place was quiet, save for the sound of painful breathing, or Maureen's voice giving soft, precise instructions. As I passed by the doorway, I closed my ears to the voice of the young druid, moaning in pain. I did not visit Maeve's sickbed, but the eye of the mind showed me her face, glistening with pus-filled blisters all down the left side, and her staring, terrified eyes. The children were very unsettled, and Aunt Aisling seemed helpless to do much about it. Instead, she moved through the strict routine of her household as if adherence to this would stop her from falling apart altogether. She did not weep, not where folk could see her. It was only when she had been sitting alone with Maeve, while Maureen snatched a bite to eat or a brief rest, that she allowed the tears to flow. It would be visible later in her pallor and her reddened eyes. The terrible thing I had done haunted my thoughts day and night. I had broken one of the most basic rules of the craft. I had been pushed into anger, and I had let it get the better of me. I knew I was wrong, and yet I did not know what else I could have done. As time passed, the inner voice, the one that I did not like to hear, came often to torment me. "You've grown up," it murmured. "You've learned it's true. Our kind can only tread the path to chaos and destruction. We are forbidden the light. Why are you surprised? You were told this. Even your father told you." My father does not employ the craft thus, to awaken sorrow, I told myself. Do not make him your pattern. He lost himself when he lost her. He is pathless. Hope was his weakness, and he let it destroy him. Every night as I lay open-eyed longing for sleep, this voice whispered to me, harder and harder to ignore. It was as if I carried my grandmother inside me, a twin self, and I thought she grew ever stronger, and drew ever closer to snuffing out the other Fanya, the girl who had once brewed tea on a little fire and sat quiet under the standing stones, and ridden on a white pony. I was losing that girl fast. The walls of Seven Waters and the great blanket of the forest seemed to tighten on me day by day, and I felt the last little bit of Carrie being slowly squeezed out of me. It hurt. It hurt so much I did foolish things to try to make it better. I kept Riona by my pillow, wrapped warm in a beautiful shawl with moon-bright tassels. As I lay there, I could touch its silken folds and dream of a future forbidden me. As I stroked the doll's woolen hair, I could picture a past unknown to me, in which a young mother sewed a treasure for her small daughter, with love in its tiny little neat stitches. My fingers moved against the fine, strong cord of Riona's strange necklace, and something whispered deep within me. Hold on. Hold on to what you've got left. There was magic in this little token. Not the skillful, clever magic I had at my own command, but a deeper, older kind, which spoke of family and belonging. This cord, with its curiously twined fibers of many hues and textures, was full of power. I could feel it pulling me, coaxing me, tugging me gently toward a pathway I could not follow. Not so long ago, I'd have been glad folk were too preoccupied to bother about me. I'd have welcomed the chance to be alone, to recite the lore, or meditate in silence, or practice spells of transference or manipulation. But now I was adrift. I could not meditate. My mind refused to rid itself of unwelcome thoughts. The lore no longer seemed to help me. It reminded me of the dying druid lying in pain along the hallway, and the other gone to his long sleep. I vowed I would not exercise the craft, lest I discover again that I could use it only to destroy. Nobody had time for me, and nobody had time for the children. The result was inevitable. I would be sitting alone pretending to be busy with one thing or another, and they'd come creeping in on some pretext. Clodagh wanting help with her penmanship, Deirdre looking for Clodagh, Eilish, tears rolling down her cheeks, and a graze on her knee that Maureen was too busy to look at. Sybil, like a little shadow, with no excuse at all. She would simply drift in and settle by me without a sound. I was forced to dig deep. I had learned a few stories on the road from Kerry. Not all were suitable for small girls' ears, so I made some adjustments here and there. My tales were well received, and I was obliged to invent more. I knew no games to speak of, but the girls taught me ring stones and some tricks with their fingers and a cord. They tried to teach me a song, but I pleaded that I had no singing voice, so they simply performed it for me instead. Together we wrestled with our sewing. Sheets were hemmed and gowns mended. Aunt Aisling thanked me for keeping them amused and out of everyone's way. I was able to say quite truthfully that I was happy to help. The day was full. The children's chatter shut out the voice of the mind. Their company exhausted me, and sleep became possible. Still, I could not be with them all the time. Maureen said little, but I knew Maeve was not improving, and nor was the young druid. I heard Sean say it was a miracle they'd managed to keep him alive this long, and he hoped Theoden would have some sort of answers when she got here. Maureen was very pale, her eyes shadowed and a little frown always on her brow. When the girls were not sleeping or with me, they could usually be found in the hallway outside the sick room, standing or sitting in a row, quite silent. Once I would have considered their solemn stillness a rare blessing. Now I was not so sure. It gave them too much time to think. They started to ask questions I did not want to answer. Why did such a bad thing happen to Maeve? When would she be able to come out and play again? Why was Mother angry all the time, and why did she and Father snap at each other? Well, welcome in, Draven. And that's okay. I think the way this author writes, it does kind of just suck you into the moment, so you don't necessarily have to know what's going on. There's a lot of inference, right? It's a mood. In the end, Maureen ordered them not to wait outside the door. Maeve was too sick to be seen, and she was doing her best. They just have to put up with it, she told them quite sharply, and retreated back into the sick room, shutting the door in their faces. Eilish burst into tears. Sybil retreated into herself. Deirdre muttered. And Clodagh said, "Marines never cross. Maeve must be going to die, and that man too." On the fourth day after the fire, it rained so hard I was reminded of my sojourn in the cave with Connor. There was no wind, the sky was grey as slate, and the water came down in a torrent, roaring on the roof, sheeting across the pathways, turning the fields into an instant quagmire. If Theoden were indeed on her way south, this was sure to delay her arrival at Seven Waters. Spirits already low plummeted further. Eilish got it in her head that Maeve's sickness was somehow her fault, because she had once called the dog a big, dirty brute that belonged in the stable-yard. She began to cry, and could not be comforted with sweetness or stories or any sort of blandishments I could think of. After a while, Sybil's eyes began to spill sympathetic tears. And then the others started, until my chamber was awash with misery. Sorrow was a contagion that had spread to every corner of this great house. It crept into my own heart, where guilt and doubt already warred with the long purpose I was bound to follow. It sapped my strength and tore at my will. I thought I could scarcely bear to be a moment longer here in this family, here in this house, trapped by the rain, smothered by the forest, drowning in tears, incarcerated with the thing I had done. I thought I would give anything to get away, just for a little, just to breathe and grow strong again. Rescue came from an unexpected quarter. The girls were working themselves into a state of complete misery, and I ventured out in search of something to distract them, for I was running short of ideas. I walked along the upper hallway deep in thought, scarcely aware where I was going. I went past the sick room and did not look in, but I heard sounds. One could not block them out, however hard one tried. As I reached the stairs, my legs felt suddenly weak, and I sat down on the top step and put my head in my hands. If only I could stop thinking. If only I could shut out the voices that tormented me. We thought you didn't give a toss what casualties you left behind. Fanya. I took my hands away and looked up. 3 or 4 steps below me stood Eamon, dressed in riding clothes. His brown hair was dripping wet, and his face wore an expression of friendly concern. You don't look well, he commented with a small frown. You must be exhausted. I heard you are helping with the little girls. I'm very sorry to hear what happened. I came as soon as Aisling's messenger brought me the news. I found it hard to mask my surprise. It's rather wet, I said bluntly. I thought nobody would venture out in such weather. Aunt Leodin will be delayed. That's what they're saying. There was a flicker of expression gone too fast to be read. I thought I might be needed here, said Eamon. I'm sure Aunt Aisling would be glad to see you, I said politely. She's been much upset. Maeve is very sick. He nodded. And are you glad to see me, Fanya? He asked quietly. Yes, I said, and it was true. He was outside all this, the weeping, the stone walls, the stifling darkness of the forest. I could look at him and not be reminded of what I had done, because he had not been a part of it. Ah, he said, and he reached out his hand to tuck a wayward strand of my hair behind my ear, a curiously intimate gesture. That's a remarkable thing about you, Fanya. You always say what you think straight out. I felt myself blushing again. Perhaps I lack the refinement of manners a girl should possess in a household such as this. I do speak my mind. I have never learned otherwise, but I would not wish to embarrass you by saying something inappropriate. You don't embarrass me, my dear, he said with a half-smile. I like your honesty. Now come, you should not be sitting on this cold stone floor. Let us go in search of a fire, and some ale, perhaps. And then I have a proposal for your consideration. He put out a hand to help me to my feet, and I took it. His hand was dry and warm, and his grip very strong. I had no idea what he was about to tell me, but anything was better than facing that little chamber of weeping girls. Their sadness only compounded my shame for what I had done. The kitchen was the only place that was really warm, so we settled there in a corner. It was hardly private. Serving men and women came in and out. Chickens were being plucked and puddings wrapped for boiling, and there was a steady stream of damp-looking men-at-arms passing through for a quick tankard of ale, a hunk of oaten bread, and a moment or two before the big fire. At least, with so much noise and activity, a quiet conversation might go unheard, if not unobserved. The old woman Janice sat exactly where I had first seen her, bolt upright on her chair, dark eyes sharp on everything and everyone. I poured ale from the jug and put a tankard in Eamon's hands. Thank you, Fanya, he said gravely. Now tell me, I have not yet seen my sister or your uncle. There's flooding in one of our outer settlements, and Sean is gone to see what can be done for the folk there. I'm informed Aisling is indisposed. The situation here makes me a little uneasy. You have observed this at every stage. Is the child likely to die? and the druid. How was it this fire took hold so quickly, and could not be stopped before so much harm was done? It's unlike Sean to allow such a thing to happen. I'm concerned about the state of his security here. I stared at him. You mean you suspect some form of mischief? The infiltration of an enemy? I don't know what I suspect. The circumstances seemed unusual, that was all. I would not like to think another such accident might occur to undermine us. At such a time we cannot afford even one slip. What if this fire had touched a store of weapons, or carefully conserved supplies? I want you to tell me exactly how it happened. I can't. I had retired for the night when the fire broke out, and my chamber is on the other side. By the time I came down, the damage was already done. That was no more than the truth. And the child? You played D&D for 27 years? Okay, yep, get some rest. Have a good day at work. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have a pretty short rest, but hopefully you'll get that tomorrow when you're done. She is badly hurt, burned on her face and hands. The druid is worse, but there is still some hope. They expect my Aunt Leodin any day. I did not miss that change of expression that seemed to flash across Eamon's features whenever this name was mentioned. Whatever had been between them so long ago had left an impression that still lingered painfully just beneath the surface. They say she is a wonderful healer. Maureen believes she can make the difference. I see. Under firm control now, his features were impassive. What of my sister? She, too, is unwell. Aunt Aisling is very upset. That's to be expected. She's deeply concerned for Maeve. Not surprising. She is much distressed. The girls feel it. She has little time for them and finds their presence a burden. She fears greatly to lose another child. The household relies on her strength, I think, and finds itself somehow adrift while she is so distracted by grief. She does all that must be done, but she is not really there. Eamon nodded. Perceptive of you. I felt this as well from the way I was received here. Life goes on, but not as before. Let us hope. Let us hope Sean's sister can indeed work miracles. They certainly seem to think so. It's said she possesses some powers beyond the ordinary. He gave the grimmest of smiles. Oh yes, that much is certainly true. It's her judgment that lets her down. Now, to the immediate situation. I have a suggestion to make. One which should suit my sister well, I think. But I need to know first if you are in agreement. I raised my brows and questioned. I have a fine empty house at Glencarna, with plenty of folk to maintain it. Too big, by far, for a man on his own. Gardens to walk in, horses to ride, warmth and space. These children are wearing you out and upsetting my sister. They could come back with me and remain there until the situation here is resolved one way or another. And you might accompany them, not as a nursemaid, you understand, but to provide another familiar face. This would please me greatly, Vanya. I'd like to see the color back in your cheeks. I'd welcome the chance to show you my home. And there are women there who can tend to the children. You'd have time to rest and recover yourself. What do you think? I don't know, I stammered, for this had taken me by surprise. The girls would like it, I expect. Eilish is always talking about your fine stables, but I could not tell him what was on my mind. That his suggestion offered me the chance to do exactly what my grandmother would wish, and that the very thought of that turned me cold with misgivings. I'll do as Aunt Aisling wishes, of course, I said rather weakly. Aunt Aisling would refuse, I thought. It did not seem at all appropriate that I should be included in such a family visit. That's settled then, Eamon said. I'll speak to Sean as soon as he returns. I doubt if he'll object. It's a practical solution. We might leave in the morning if this rain eases. Maybe, I said, managing a smile. That way we'd be gone before Aunt Theoden arrives. His gaze sharpened. What do you mean? He demanded. Across the kitchen, the old woman was watching us. I simply heard the two of you take steps to avoid one another, I said. I meant no harm by it. I did not like the sudden edge in his voice. It is no joking matter. I have offended you. I'm sorry. Whatever was between you and my Aunt Theoden still hurts. I see that. These things are past. I don't speak of them. His mouth was tight, the brown eyes full of bitterness. I was lost for words. It seemed I had strayed into deeper waters than I knew how to navigate. You got a raid? Hey, Myco Psycho! How are you? How was your stream? Thank you very much for the raid. This is really interesting. I'm not sure of the backstory or when or where this takes place. So, this is in Ireland. It's basically most of the books that this author writes, Juliette Marie, they are based in Irish folklore and surrounding areas. And then even before then, I know she's done a trilogy. She calls them the Picts, and those. Trying to think. Most of them are Ireland. She's done several Seven Waters books. This is technically the third book in a trilogy. It is the first trilogy. The first book covers a protagonist that goes through a narrative that is based off of the folklore of the Wild Swans, if you're familiar with that story. Yeah, blows Viking raspberries. We are having a good night. Existential Snade Rig, yes. Hello, Kentron. So, in this third book is a different protagonist. She is a descendant of sorcerers. Her grandmother is a sorceress that tried to take out the protagonist of the first book and her brothers. It sounded like colonial America. Yeah, I mean, I'm not reading it with an Irish accent, so probably doesn't help. But Seven Waters is in a forest that it seems like it has its own innate defense system. Like it will create a fog and it will confuse people. Kind of only lets in people that it wants to let in. The old ones, the Fovra, have already been driven out, and the entities in control, they are called, the Others or the Fae, the Tuatha De Danann, I'm sure you know and are aware of. Gonna lay down? Okay. It's the real way we give each other respite? Yes. Agreed. And thank you. I appreciate the compliments. But this is definitely an interesting character because she's removed from all of the characters that preceded her, except for her father. So the way that she's essentially tied more to the villain of the other two books. So, but she's related to all these people that we have already gotten attached to and want to see thrive and gain back the islands that have been taken by the Britons. So, I'm sorry, my child is very strange. When he's playing games with his friends, they just do all kinds of weird noises. Okay. We shall continue. How are we doing on ads? All right, no pop-up yet. Okay. Fanya, there you are. It was Clodagh. running across the kitchen from the inner doorway with the others behind her. There were still red eyes and blotched complexions, but at least the weeping had stopped. "Oh, hello, Uncle Eamon. Where were you, Fanya?" "Nowhere," I said with a weak smile. Tiresome as the girls could be, there were moments when they had their uses. "Your Uncle Eamon's got an idea. We'll tell you about it, but it's only if your father agrees, mind." Sean had some reservations when finally he returned home and was asked permission. There was enough upheaval already, he said. And besides, I had barely settled in at Seven Waters. It was a little too soon for another move. And the weather was inclement. But Aunt Aisling overruled him. "It's a practical enough suggestion," she said briskly. "It would suit me well. The girls are best out of Marine's way for now. You could stop at St. Ronan's for one night and break the journey. It's not such a very long ride." "It's long for Fanya," put in Eilish, who had been listening hard. "She can't even ride properly, and all the horses are scared of her." "Eilish," her mother exclaimed. "That's less than kind. You must learn to guard your tongue." "It's true, though," Deirdre spoke up in an unaccustomed defense of her small sister. "As to that," Eamon said casually, "I have brought a horse for Fanya, a mare of an exceptional temperament, highly suitable for a young lady. We'll take it gradually. There's no cause for concern." Sean and Aisling both glanced at him sharply. I looked at the floor, somewhat embarrassed, but just a little pleased as well. Clearly there had been more forward planning than his casual invitation had suggested. "I see," said Sean, frowning. "I'm not at all sure about this." "The girls should go." Aisling seemed to have made her decision. "This house is not the best place for them just now. There's too much sadness here. It's best they go, Sean." "We might leave in the morning," I thought, "if the rain clears." Eamon seemed keen to press what advantage he had. "Very well," said Sean gravely, glancing at his wife. "But there's no rush. The girls must have time to say their farewells." "Excuse me." Aunt Aisling turned away abruptly and made for the door almost at a run. I thought she was choking back sudden tears. "Come, girls," I said briskly. "We'd best have a look at your things and make sure your boots are clean and your cloaks dry." I glanced at Eamon. "Thank you for being so thoughtful," I said quietly. His expression was very serious. It usually was. I thought it would be quite a challenge to persuade such a man to laugh. Grandmother had no trick for that. "It's nothing, Fanya," he said. "The garden's nice at Glencarna," observed Deirdre when we were back upstairs. I had opened my wooden chest and was sorting through my pitifully small store of belongings, wondering what might be judged suitable for such a visit. "There's a pond with fish in it, and a maze of hedges and nut trees." And lots of horses," said Eilish. "I wonder if Uncle Eamon would let me ride that black one." "Your legs are too short. Wait 10 years or so and he might consider it," said Deirdre dryly. "Fanya," said Clodagh. "What?" I asked absently. "I think Uncle Eamon likes you." "Of course he likes her," said Eilish, puzzled. "He's our uncle. He likes all of us." "He's not Fanya's uncle," said Clodagh. "Besides, I mean he likes her. You wouldn't understand. You're too little." "You mean sweetheart sort of likes?" Deirdre's eyebrows shot up. "But he's ancient. Older than father." "I'm right," Clodagh said. "See if I'm not." "I think you should go off and do some packing," I said sternly. "Sort your things out. We might be leaving tomorrow after all." Sybil did not speak often. Now her voice was soft, but her words sent a chill through every corner of my body. "What if Maeve dies and we're not here?" The twins went very quiet, their freckled faces white. Eilish's lower lip began to tremble ominously. Don't say such things. I kept my voice as steady as I could. Isn't your Aunt Leodin coming? And her the best healer in all of Ulster? Of course Maeve won't die. By the time we get back, she'll be as good as new. See if she isn't. It was a credible imitation of Peg Walker's briskly positive style. But how could I hope to convince them, if I did not believe it myself? Vanya? Cloda's voice lacked its usual confidence. What? We need to see Maeve before we go. Maureen said we couldn't, but we have to. Will you ask her? She'll listen to you. 4 pairs of round eyes were fixed on me with that same expression. I had no doubt Clodagh spoke for all of them, and I wondered afresh about messages of the mind, and just who had inherited which special skills. I don't think, I stammered. Please, Vanya, said Sybil in a little polite whisper. Very well, I said. I'll ask her. But you must do 2 things for me. First, go to your own quarters and tidy up your things. Set aside what you plan to take with you. And stay away from the sick room until I call you. Don't wait for me outside the door. You know how Maureen hates that. They disappeared without a sound. I was shivering, my heart cold with dread. I had used every excuse I could find since the night of the fire to persuade myself that I need not go into the sick room and see what I had done. Whew, gotta get all the kiddos in bed. And thank you for coming to hang out with us, Marcia. I hope you have a good night. Maureen had no use for me. She had plenty of helpers far more skilled. I was not really family anyway. It would be an intrusion. I was better occupied looking after the children. Most of the excuses were true enough. But the reason I had not gone was none of these. I had stayed away because I feared that once I saw what was in that room, I would not have the will to go on with the task set me. And if I failed in that, my father would die in agony. But today there was no choice. I had promised. I had to go. I had to go now, right away, before I lost what little courage I could summon. It was just a matter of making my feet go straight down the hallway, one after the other. And when I got to the doorway, instead of walking past quickly and trying not to hear the sounds, I would simply go in and... I picked Riona up and tucked her under my arm. And there was the shawl which had been wrapped around her, the wonderful sun-drenched shawl. How could I wear it? It would be like letting Derek see what I had done, like pretending I was worthy of such a gift, when what I saw before me confirmed that it was true, that my kind was capable of only destruction and mischief. But something made me put it on all the same. Over the top I wrapped my serviceable woolen shawl, so that only the silken fringe showed, just a little at the bottom. Then I walked along the hall and tapped at the door and went in, my heart thumping and my skin clammy with sweat. Vanya! Exclaimed Maureen in surprise. She was stirring something in a little pot by the fire. Maeve lay on a raised pallet, and Aunt Aisling sat beside her, shielding the child from my sight. There was a small warm fire on the hearth, and a pleasant smell of herbs. Over by the window 2 serving women were busy folding newly washed linen. This room adjoined the other, where the injured druids lay, but I could not see through. It was quiet, save for the sound of a man's voice reading or reciting softly. I'm glad you came, Maureen said to me in an undertone, nodding toward her mother. See if you can make Mother go and rest. She's wearing herself out, and to no good purpose. There's little for her to do here. I made myself walk forward to the bed, forced myself to look down at the child who lay there in a sort of restless half-sleep. Her hands were heavily bandaged. I could only guess at the damage she had inflicted on them, clutching at hot iron with her headlong flight. But the wrapping had been taken from her head, and on one side her bright hair was all frizzled and burned away, the left eyelid grossly swollen, brows and lashes gone. A hideous oozing patchwork of purple and red and brown spread like a canker from one eye all the way past the small ear. On that side her face was a monster's. I made myself keep looking. I controlled my expression. After a little, I found I could speak. "I'll sit with her a while, Aunt Aisling. You should go and rest. Eilish was asking for you. She'd dearly love to show you the little cloth she's hemmed. She's very proud of it." Aisling stared at me, her blue eyes quite blank. For a moment, I think she scarcely knew who I was. "I'll stay here with Maeve. It's all right, Aunt. You can go." I used the craft subtly, to make my voice more convincing. I conveyed the message that she could trust me. Inside, I shuddered at my own duplicity. Aunt Aisling blinked and seemed to come to herself. "I suppose that would be quite suitable," she said reluctantly. "Thank you, Fanya. Marine, I'll be back later." For a long time I simply sat there staring at the child. To look at her was to punish myself, but all the guilt in the world would not right the wrong I had done her. If these people knew, if they understood I was responsible, I would indeed be an outcast. I would be hated and reviled as my grandmother had been. No matter that I must act thus to prevent my father's suffering. No matter that I must carry out a task of such magnitude that none of their lives would ever be the same. I stared at the child and knew I had stolen her future. What I had done was every bit as bad as what Connor had done to my father. If Maeve lived, she would be scarred and hideous. I thought myself plain and awkward, with my tight curling hair and my twisted foot, my gangling height and my shyness. But my skin was smooth and pale, my hands deft and free of blemish, my body healthy. For as Royson had said, the limp was nothing. I was not disfigured, not like this. It was at that moment I vowed to myself I would never again use the glamour to make myself look beautiful. I would thank the goddess I was so lucky, and go forth as myself. Gently I let the veil of loveliness go, knowing that in the nature of things folk would see nothing odd in the change. "She's waking up," Marine said quietly. "These drafts are effective, but they don't last very long. We're all short of sleep. The pain's been bad. Will you stay while I put on the fresh dressing?" I nodded and retreated back from the bedside, clutching Riona to my chest. I watched as the child awoke, her damaged eyes slitted by the swelling of the flesh around it, and the other round and fearful. Watched as Marine bathed her burned skin in cool herbal wattles. Oh my gosh. I need a moment. My child cannot be quiet. Just kidding. There we go. Is it on now? I thought I muted it when I was yelling at Everett to shush. Hopefully I didn't make it go backwards. But I was saying I'll run the ads so I can take a moment. You thought you were subscribed? Oh no, Kemian can't see it because the ad's going. But yeah, I was wondering if you guys were falling asleep, but if I yelled in everyone's ears, probably not anymore. Sorry. All done now? Okay. Still showing that there's a minute and a half for the ad, but that sounds really loud. Let's skip that one. If it will load. Oops. Dun, dun, dun. Well, I don't know which one is playing. Just pick one at random. Okay. If the ads are done, then we can continue. You're falling asleep, Cassie? All right. Sleep well. Thank you for coming in. Hopefully we will see you again on Tuesday. Let me see how many pages are left. Okay. We've got about 11 pages. Which isn't terrible. I think we can manage that. It's about halfway through. All right. For a long time, I simply sat there staring at the child. To look at her was to punish myself. But all the guilt in the world would not right the wrong I had done her. If these people knew, if they understood I was responsible, I would indeed be cast out. I would be hated and reviled as my grandmother had been. No matter that I must act to prevent my father's suffering. No matter that I must carry out a task of such magnitude that none of their lives would ever be the same. Oh yeah, we already read that. Okay, she's waking up. I nodded and retreated back from the bedside. Clutching Riona to my chest, I watched as the child awoke, her damaged eye slitted by the swelling of the flesh around it, the other round and fearful. Watched as Marine bathed her burned skin with cool herbal waters. Listened as her faint, thready whimpering grew to a thin, painful keening sound, while a poultice of onion skins was laid against the burned skin of face and scalp, and tied there with a bandage of clean linen. I held it in place while Marine made the knots, and I felt Maeve's cries vibrating through my own hand, as if they would lodge there forever. Then the bedding was changed, as a strapping serving woman lifted the child in her arms as carefully as a basket of new eggs. By the time Maeve was safely returned to her pallet and attempting to sip from a cup Maureen held to her lips, I was cold with horror. "Now, Maeve," said Maureen calmly, "you have a visitor. Vanya is here to see you. Did you notice? Drink up, all of it mind, and then she'll sit with you a while. She might even tell you a story." The child swallowed obediently, laboriously. This draught might give her an anchor another short spell of rest. I wondered at Marine's strength of will. She did not weep with fear at her own helplessness. She did not rail at the gods for thus striking her sister down. She did not collapse with exhaustion or ask me why I had left it to sit so long. Left it so long to visit the child. She simply went on quietly doing what had to be done, accepting that matters were as they were, and taking her place in the scheme of it with a purpose that left no place for doubt. And yet, it took its toll. You could see that in her shadowed eyes. Maeve lay back on her pillows with a little wheeze of outgoing breath that might have been a sigh. Her eyes turned toward me. "Well, Maeve," I said as steadily as I could, seating myself on the stool by her bed. "I've brought someone to see you." I lifted Riona up so that the child could look at her butter-yellow locks, her shrewd dark eyes and delicately embroidered mouth, the pale pink skirts fanned out over the stark linen of Maeve's coverlet. The child's lips stretched in a tiny smile. "Good," I said. "She's glad to see you too. I've a favor to ask. I'm going to visit your Uncle Eamon, and I'll be away a while. Riona can't go, but I don't want to leave her on her own, seeing we're so new here. I was hoping maybe you'd look after her for me while I'm away. You'd need to keep her company, see that her hair's neat, maybe give her a corner of your bed at night. Could you do that?" The little painful smile was there again. "Good," I said, and I unwound the strange necklace the doll wore, knowing somewhere deep within me that while I might give up my small companion to someone who needed her more, I could not let this go, this last link to my mother. I slipped the necklace into the pocket of my gown and tucked Riona in beside Maeve, under the covers. She fitted snugly into the crook of the child's arm, as if she belonged there. The expression on her embroidered features seemed almost benign. "Now, I'll tell you a story, and then I have to go. Would you like a story?" A very faint response. That was all she could manage. On the far side of the chamber, Marine sat down by the fire, and one of the women put a tankard between her hands. She stared into the flames as if suddenly too weary to move. What sort of tale do you tell to a child as she looks across the room and sees death waiting in the shadows? I knew plenty, but none of them seemed right. What trickery can amuse a little girl as her skin twists and tightens and works itself into a crippling fabric of scars? How do you keep her heart strong and her spirit clear when you must speak from the dark turmoil of your own guilt? My fingers toyed with the little edge of fringe that hung down below my everyday shawl. Silken and sunny, memory of innocence. The delicate lacy pattern of wavelets lapping the sand in the tiny secret cave. Notes of a melody arching through the stillness of the dawn. The folk I traveled with when I came here, they tell a lot of tales around the fire at night. That's to help keep out the cold, you understand. The smallest children sit in front, the old men and women, where it's warmest. Then there's the bigger lads and girls and the grown-up folk. That's another circle. And beyond that, there's the creatures. Dogs that guard the camp, and ducks and chickens and little coops and the horses. Enough horses to make a fine big circle all of their own. If those horses could speak, they'd have a tale or two to tell. Some of the stories are noble and grand, and some of them are silly, and some of them can make you cry and laugh at the same time. I'm going to tell you a story about a boy and a white pony. It's a new one. You're the very first person to hear it, you and Riona. Maeve gave a little sigh and turned her head slightly toward me, as if not to miss a single word. "Well now," I said. "This boy was one of the traveling folk. He'd grown up on the road. That was what he was used to. No fine houses or soft beds for him. No servants to cook or wash. No clients to tend the beasts and work in the fields. Just a cart and a pair of horses, and the sky and the sea, and the way stretching on before him, full of adventures. He didn't settle long. It's in the nature of a traveling man to always be on the move, you see. Hello, Roberto. Welcome in. Doing well here, and thank you so much for the heart. We are reading through Chapter 6 of Child of the Prophecy by Juliet Marie. Trying to get through it before everyone needs to get to bed. Maeve was trying to say something. I bent my head to catch the faint words. Name? I swallowed. His name was Derek. He traveled with his mother and father, and his sisters and brothers, and some cousins and uncles and aunts, and his old grandfather as well. There were plenty of folk, and even more horses, because that was what they did. They'd catch the wild ponies or buy them cheap, and train them up fine for riding, and sell them at the cross. That's where they hold the best horse fair in all of Erin. Yep, happy full moon to you as well. The room was very quiet. Not only was the child absorbed in the tale, but Maureen's gaze was now intent on me, and the serving women had put down their work and seated themselves on a bench near the window to listen. Now Derek had a rare gift with the horses. It was something about him, something you could never quite put your finger on, but the creatures trusted him. It's a hard thing for a pony to go away from his herd and be among men, you know, hard and frightening. Like saying goodbye to your family, like going somewhere so different it could be another world. They call it breaking a horse, to tame it so that it will take a saddle and submit to a rider's will. Sometimes what they do can seem quite cruel, tying a creature, making it lie down and accept a man's mastery over it, breaking its spirit. That's what it is. That's the only way, the traveling men say, if you want the horse to be of any value to the buyer. Nobody wants a beast that can't be trusted to obey. You're watching the Grammys, Patricia? That's fine. Oh, the tribute's always rough. There was one time when they were camped under a hill, and the men and lads went out to watch for wild ponies, thinking to take a few to prepare for the next autumn's fair. The ponies were grazing on the sweet grass of the hillside. They were edgy, ears twitching, tails swishing, as if they sensed something was afoot. Ready to bolt at the least excuse they were. Their coats were the colors of the landscape, black, gray, brown, the shades of rock and lichen and bark. But there was one who stood out. She moved among them like a lovely full moon between dark clouds, her coat as white and shining as anything you'd ever see. Her mane and tail fell like the silken fringe of a lady's shawl, lustrous and gleaming. "That one's mine," said Derek in a whisper. "Her," muttered his father, who knew more about horses than most people could learn in a lifetime. "Not likely. Look at her eye. That creature's mad. There's a pride and an anger in her means you'd never break her. More likely she'd be the death of you. Pick one of the others." But Derek had made up his mind. The usual thing once they'd chosen the ones worth taking was to come back with their own horses and the dogs, and cut the ponies out from the herd to take back to the encampment. There they'd be confined and subject to the usual discipline, until they were docile enough to be ridden. Derek knew the white pony was different. He'd seen what his father had seen, the wildness in the eye, the flare of the nostrils, the proud carriage of the beautiful head. She was like some princess of the old tales, aloof and untouchable, and very much herself. And frightened. She had sensed his presence there. This pony could not be seized and driven by sticks, with hounds yapping at her heels. That would indeed send her mad. This princess could only be tamed by love. It was as well the traveling folk were camped in those parts over the summer, for Derek needed time. He told his mother he might be away a bit, and to let his dad know, but not quite yet. Then he went up the hill very early in the morning, when the mist still slept in the hollows and crevices, and only the boldest birds sang out their challenges to the first rose tint of the dawn. He went soft-footed, without company, with a little halter in one pocket and a scrap of bread and cheese in the other, and his eyes and ears open. "Hello, Valkyrie, welcome in. Been a minute since you've been able to pop in, while I'm streaming anyway." The white pony was on her own under the rowan trees. She was dreaming, and so quiet was Derek coming up to her, that she never heard a whisper until he was quite close, sitting on a rock as still as he could. She looked at him. He made no move, though truth to tell it was freezing cold and he was hard put not to shake and shiver. But he kept still, and made sure his gaze was on the grass or on the trees or the sky slowly lightening to a faint lilac, and after a while she seemed almost to forget him, dropping her head to a crop at the grass. But she'd her eye on him, he knew it. Oh, yes, all the homework. Understandable. It was a long process. On one hand, Derek was wearing her down with his patience. On the other, she was trying him to the extent of his persistence. Everywhere the white pony went, there was Derek, silent, still, not trying anything, just keeping close by her. She'd run swift as the west wind, up the valleys and over the passes and across the fields of shimmering grass, and Derek would run after her as fast as his human legs could carry him, and get left behind time after time. But always, eventually, he would find her. He had ever been a lean fellow, and he grew thinner. There'd be a bite to eat at a cottage here, or a handful of berries there, but it wasn't much. His boots were nearly worn through. Back at the encampment, his folk counted the days as they passed. "Boy's a fool," said the dad. "I told him he'd never break that pony. Anyone can see she's crazy." His mother didn't say anything. She had her own opinion, but she kept it to herself. Derek was exhausted. He'd run from dawn till sundown, and his ankle was hurt, and there were blisters on all his toes. Many days had passed since he had first set out from home, and now they were back on the hillside where it had all started. The pony was watching him, and he was close, very close to where she stood. He could almost hear what she was thinking, that she found his behavior very strange indeed, and could not understand what he wanted of her, that she should be over the hill to the east with the herd, but for some reason she was here with him. She should go, the others were waiting, but... "Well then," said Derek, and he took one step forward and laid his thin brown hand very gently on the white pony's neck. "I'm off home. You'd best go back to your own folk. Keep out of trouble now." And with that he turned and was off down the hill to the camp. I paused. All was still in the room. Even the voice from the neighboring chamber had ceased its steady cadence. Outside, birds were calling. "That can't be the end," said Marine. I glanced down at Maeve. She was still awake, her face turned expectantly at me. "Indeed no," I said. Derek went home and soaked his feet in a bucket of water and ate a big bowlful of stew, and then he rolled up his blanket and slept from dusk until well after cockcrow. His sister, Royshin was her name, had to wake him up. So sound was he sleeping after all that running, and all that sitting quiet, and all that trying to think the way the pony would think. "Get up, Derek," she hissed in his ear. Look over there." He rolled out of his blanket again, blinking and rubbing his eyes, and there, delicate and graceful in the morning sunlight, stood the white pony, waiting for him on the far side of the camp among the baskets and barrels and bits and pieces. She put her beautiful head a little on one side and looked at him with the eyes of his father had called crazy. And she gave a soft whinny as if to say, "I'm here now. What comes next?" The summer after that, Derek's father asked him if he planned to sell Afy, for so the white pony had been named. He'd get a good price for her at the fair, for she was a creature of exceptional intelligence, though in truth she was only at her best when Derek himself was on her back. Still, he'd taken a girl for a ride on her once, and her manners had been perfect. But Derek wouldn't part with her. "I can't," he told his dad. "She's not mine to sell." "What nonsense is that?" his father queried. "You caught the creature, you tamed her. Of course she's yours. I know 5 men who would pay in good silver for such a mare." "That's not the way of it," Derek answered, stroking Afy's snowy coat with gentle fingers. "I chose her, and she chose me. There's no catching about it, and no owning. She's free to go if she wants. Besides, I could never part with her, not now. She's my luck." As time passed, Derek became much sought after for his way with horses. It's not everyone has the ability and the patience to tame a wild creature with love alone. He never parted with Afy, nor did she with him. They became a sort of legend, the two of them. People would point and whisper as they saw the dark young man with his little gold earring riding by their cottages on the beautiful white pony. "That boy's half horse himself," someone would say. "Not what I've heard," said another. "They say the creature's a fairy pony. Turns into a beautiful girl at night and back into itself by day. No wonder he wouldn't give her up." But Derek only grinned his crooked grin and nudged Afy's flanks softly, and the two of them moved on into the dusk. And that's the end of the story, for now. Maeve seemed to be asleep, her breathing quieter, and Riona still clutched tight in her arms. I tucked the coverlet over her small form. "Is that the true story?" asked the big serving woman with some hesitation. She had sat entranced throughout my tale. "True enough," I said, thinking it was just as well my kind could not weep, or I would be making quite an exhibition of myself by now. "Indeed, I rode on that pony myself once. She's every bit as clever and as lovely as the tale describes." "You tell it well." Maureen got up from her chair and stretched wearily. "It makes you sound like another person entirely." I did not reply. All the fine tales in the world, all the sweet memories, could not make things right again. Not for Maeve, not for any of us. I was glad Derek had gone away. I was glad I would never see him again. What boy in his right mind would want someone like me for a friend? "Maureen," I said, remembering belatedly why I was there. "You heard we are going to Glencarna, the girls and I." "I did," said Maureen with a wry smile. A surprise, that was. I wonder what inspired Uncle Eamon to his sudden gesture of family support. "I think he's just trying to be helpful," I said. "That's as may be. The girls have never gone there before except on formal visits with Mother and Father. Uncle Eamon is a stickler for everything proper. He always works by the rules." "This isn't breaking any rules. He is their uncle, after all." Maureen regarded me quizzically. "As long as you know what you're up to." "I must ask you a favor," I said. "The children want to see Maeve before they go. It seems to be important. I was sent to persuade you to let them in just for a little." Maureen frowned. "It will only upset them. And that will upset Maeve. Perhaps you do not realize how sick she is, Vanya. She has been badly shocked and is quite weak." I don't want to risk further contagion in these wounds. That could finish her. Forgive me for being blunt, but I must do everything I can to help her hold on until Aunt Leodin arrives. This is not a good idea. Please let them visit. I used the craft as subtly as I could to make my words sound convincing. I don't wish to distress you, but Sybil said, what if Maeve dies and we're not here? They are thinking that. I'll warn them to keep their comments to themselves and not to upset her. Please, Marine. Now Marine was looking at me very closely indeed, and she had a strange expression on her face, as if she were trying to puzzle out a page of words written in a language both familiar and unknown. Very well, she said after a moment or two. I can hardly say no when you put it like that. I'll send for you when she wakes. The girls must leave before the bandages are changed again. They can't be here for that, Fanya. She bit back her words. What is it? I asked. You seem different, that's all. What do you mean, different? I was alarmed. Surely she had not noticed my use of the craft. I don't know, Marine said. It's as if sometimes you were one person and sometimes another. As if there were two of you. Sounds silly, doesn't it? I must really be tired. Isn't one of me enough? I said lightly. But I knew I had been careless. I had overlooked the strange powers some members of my family possessed. I had forgotten all about the Fovera streak. From now on, I would be more watchful. As if to ease the way of our departure, the clouds dissipated, and the sun rose on a clear, cold morning. Horses and ponies were readied before the main doors, and a great many men-at-arms, whose dark green tunics blazoned with a black tower marked them as of Aemon's household, assembled themselves into an impressive escort. This time, it seemed, none of the men of Seven Waters to ride with us. Aemon was family, and so, I assumed, was spared the indignity of being seen across the borders by my uncle's guards. Family could be trusted. So Derrig would have me believe. The message had been implicit in his blithe talk of the joys of growing up surrounded by sisters and brothers. It just went to show, I thought bitterly, how little I was really accepted here. Aemon might pass as he liked, but they would not even let me take a stroll in the forest without an escort of armed men. Yet I was bloodkin, and Aemon was not. The little girls were very quiet indeed. Visiting Maeve had been difficult for them, holding back their comments and their tears of dismay even harder. They had done bravely, the four of them, and I had made sure I told them so later, when the door was closed on their sister's pain. There were tears enough then, but they were as much in anger as in sorrow. It's not right, Clodagh had muttered, frowning furiously as she stared down at the clenched fists. Such things should not be allowed to happen. How can the gods let it happen? It's not fair, Deirdre had added, glaring at nobody in particular. The smaller ones had nothing to say. Sybil was a shadow of a child. Eilish sucked her thumb. In the morning they came down in their cloaks and riding boots and were helped onto their ponies, and soon enough we were on our way deep into the forest and headed for Glencarna. Right, that was the end of chapter 6. We actually made it through an entire chapter. You guys alive? Hanging on? By a thread, probably. Let's see if there's like a good stopping spot. No, I do not see any breaks in this next chapter. It is very long. We're gonna have to force one at some point, I think, probably for the next chapter. Well, I guess it's 20 pages. It's about the same. Yeah, Maddie is always alive, because it's Not late enough. You always stay up way too late, Maddie. Well, do you want to do some shanties before we go to bed? Or songs, whatever you feel like. You guys tell me what you want. What you really, really want. I'm not an insomniac, I swear. I'm terrible about it. If I get into a mode where I'm working, and I get more creative at night for whatever reason, but I just get in the zone and then I don't want to stop. So sometimes we're up till 3, sometimes we're up till 6 in the morning because we're making poor choices. Why you gotta out me, Oonagh? Hey, I'm outing myself too. It's not just you. I'm just able to harp on you because I'm like an older sister. It's my job. Oh, good, Valkyrie. That's very good. And important. Proper sleep is very important. I've made my skin so tired and sad and wrinkly because I'm just not taking care of it and not doing it any favors by not getting proper sleep. I need to not do that. You hush? Are you hushing me? Yes, lots of water too, which I definitely don't do enough. I do drink water, but I'm not drinking enough water because I kind of nurse my coffee. I can't judge you if you're up until 3 a.m. Of course I can. Duh. Oh, no, I mean, I'm not talking shit. I'm just being honest that, like, my skin is not being taken care of. Not trying to get down on like, oh, I look awful. I just mean like I can feel my skin. It's like very dry and it looks very tired without makeup. It's lost vibrancy, if that makes sense. Because I'm sucking the life out of myself by not sleeping well. I'm just saying I need to change my ways. But the other problem is we'll be like, okay, let's get to bed at a decent hour. And we'll go to bed at like 1 or 2, but then we end up talking about work and then we need to wind down, so we'll watch a show and then we still end up staying up too late. So it's just but it's hard because I might go to bed on time, but then Castle's not ready and I don't really sleep until he's ready. And then it'll flip around, it'll be the other way. He'll be like ready to go to bed and I'll be like, oh, I want to finish this thing. Coffee is a diuretic and dehydrates you. Honestly, I have seen so many mixed things about that. The caffeine, yes, it is a diuretic. And the caffeine will affect your brain because it's basically blocking the serotonin, and then when it unblocks, it floods you. So if you're, kind of trying to make it through the day and that serotonin hadn't been able to get through your brain at the proper time, it gives you headaches, right? You made it finally. Frost is the end. What happened to what you said in my stream, Oonagh? Oh, yeah. Captain Hoodie had sent me a video about how coffee hydrates just as much as water does, but obviously the caffeine is a different matter. But, I don't know what to believe. I don't care. I drink water and I drink coffee. Those are the only things I really drink. And if I want something cold, I might have a tea or one of those V8 energy things. Not energy drinks. I don't like energy drinks. I think they're terrible for you. I stand with Destiny only because it suits what you want, Maddie. I would rather not pull the wool over my eyes and look at things objectively. I totally know that, especially the coffee that I choose, it's called Death Wish, for crying out loud. It has a lot of caffeine. If I have too much and I don't manage it properly and I don't drink water, it will definitely affect me in a negative way. I'm not deluded in this fact. So I try to be good about it. I do drink too late because I don't want to waste any of the coffee, you know, but Castle is the one that actually makes it for me. Coffee made me so anxious, so I've switched to English breakfast tea with honey in the AM. Okay. Coffee does not get me hyped at all. It's more like a comforting thing. I need some Death Wish coffee some mornings. I mean, it just tastes so good. Like, I love dark coffee because it's got like it's a full body. Like, there's so much more flavor to it to me. Whereas like light and medium roasts tend to have a lot of acidic flavor notes, which I don't love. But the Death Wish, when you like freshly grind it, it's so good. So good. I only have 4 cups today. I mean, that's probably okay. It's probably not okay if you're doing Death Wish because it's got so much caffeine in it. But it is organic coffee. But yeah, Castle makes the coffee, so if he makes a lot of it, what can I do? I have to drink it. I don't want to waste my expensive coffee. Gunpowder green tea has more caffeine than normal if you're looking for a coffee alternative. Okay. No, I'm not looking for a coffee alternative, but I do have matcha. But I literally just love the taste of coffee. Call me crazy. And when it comes to tea, I like chai tea and I like Earl Grey tea the most. But I like a lot of teas. Not to be a damper on the whole dark coffee thing, but you do realize it has less caffeine than the light roast. Yeah, I'm not drinking it for the caffeine, Frost. That's the thing. Like, I promise you, I'm not even drinking it for the caffeine. I'm drinking it because it tastes really good. It's like a lot of dark roasts will have more like chocolatey notes or even caramelly notes. Yeah, I do know. However, Death Wish does have insane levels of caffeine. They have a warning on their packaging. Earl Grey up in this beef. Earl Grey is so good. Love it. You haven't tried Earl Grey tea? It's got some like really nice aromatics to it. Because depending on the Earl Grey, it'll probably have like bergamot in there. And it just adds like a really nice note. I add cocoa to my coffee to help me concentrate. Yeah, cacao is good for you. You used to drink the light roast Death Wish? Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't bothered getting any of the light roast because I just know I prefer the flavors of dark roasts. Possibly medium roasts. Like, medium roasts are usually fine, but dark roasts, it's different. Oh, Moroccan mint is good. It's true. I have a bunch of my English breakfast to get through. Yeah, get through it, and then, or maybe if you go out sometime and you can just try it, see if you like it. I also drank Odin Force from Death Wish. I did try that one. I don't know what it was because I can't remember exactly the flavor profile, but I recall not liking it as much as their regular dark roast. Yeah, Maddie's mom is always making him tea. I drink either English breakfast or Earl Grey tea. They're both good. They're both good. Earl Grey is definitely my preference, and I even like it for like pastries. Or when we go get boba, I'll either get an Earl Grey milk tea or I'll get a black sesame milk tea. You put your what in your Earl Grey? I'm concerned. I can't speak on my own caffeine intake. It's atrocious. Oh no. Alex, I'm not sure what you're saying, but I don't know what the D is standing for. I don't know what the B is standing for, and I'm concerned. Well, Maddie, you better not sass your mom. I'm worried too. Yeah, usually Maddie's the one saying inappropriate things. Maddie always is likes to be bad, even on accident. Yes, respect the lady of the house. You don't want to sass your mom. It's bad. Can I help you at these tea parties? I don't know. Maybe keep the D where it belongs. Whatever the D is. That's my help. That's the best advice I can give you. Making Maddie do a spit take. All right. Do you guys want to do songs or no? Yeah, Maddie's brain is a gutter dweller. Yep, yep. We've noticed. Ooh, yeah, don't sass your mom. You're living in her house. Oh no. All the cacao has like settled on the bottom. It's gonna be very chocolatey now. Well, it's okay for your mom to sass you. You're her child. I need to defend myself. As long as you're not being disrespectful. Maddie's brain hasn't reached the heights of the gutter yet. I mean, I don't even know what the heights are then. Definitely hit enough. I try not to. Well, good. It's important. Even my teenage son has gotten better at catching himself. If he is frustrated about something and sasses me, he'll usually apologize right after. That's good, Maddie. That's good. Having a filter is important. Unless he's being what? Yeah, that's not him trying to like be sassy though. Like I know his friends are like that on the headset, so like they're matching each other's loudness basically. As in his brain is way below the gutter. I gotcha. But yeah, They're nutty when they play video games. You're childless. I mean, I love kids. I love kids. And to be frank, my child was crazy even for other people who were like, oh, he's just being a kid. And then they're like, oh, yeah, he's got a lot of energy. I'm like, yeah, I know. I literally got a bag that straps to the waist and the leg, like it harnesses to the leg so I could run because my child was a runner. Like he could just book it at any given time, so I'd have to like chase after him and catch him until he was old enough to realize, hey, yeah, don't run towards the street. I've saved him from quite a few what would be nasty falls. Maddie. Oh, that's fine, Frost. There's always other stuff going on in life. But yeah, I do love kids. I've considered having another one, but not in our current situation, and I might be too old by the time I would be ready, at least financially and like work-wise. We just have so much going on right now. We already have no time. You have a sassy goddaughter? My ex used to say, I like kids, I just can't eat a whole one. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's important to establish very early on in the dating scene, like, do you want kids? Do you not want kids? Because if you don't agree on that from the get-go, it's probably going to cause a problem later. 9 times out of 10. But, you know, it's good to be honest. Saw some crazy thing. This might, no, it will gross you out, but I'm going to tell you anyway. At least I didn't show you. But I saw this clip of a couple meeting up to actually eat out together after like dating for 6 months. And apparently she didn't want to go out to eat with him because she eats in a different way and she gets self-conscious about it and she wants to make sure that like he was going to be serious about her before she crossed that bridge, because she was like, he needs to accept the way that I eat my food. So I'm like, okay, this is strange. I'm kind of intrigued. I want to see what this weird way of eating is. So they're at the restaurant. She asks the waitress, can you blend the food? And I'm like, okay, that is gross, but maybe she's got teeth problems and she's just gonna slurp up her food, right? She gets her food. She wants a straw. And then this woman, if you don't want to be grossed out, don't listen. She sucks it up through her nose. I was traumatized. She sucks up her food through a straw to eat. I don't understand. I'm like, that cannot be healthy. It's definitely damaging stuff in her sinuses. Like, I don't even know how she's alive. Yeah, and then she's like talking to him because obviously the guy is like, what are you doing, right? Like, what is happening right now? She's like, this is how you eat all your meals? She's like, yeah, that's how I eat all my meals. She's like responding to him while it's dribbling out of her nose. I'm like, why? Why? Yeah, like a bird. I'm just... I didn't watch it long enough to figure out the reasoning behind it because there's no reason that's good, right? It didn't matter. I was too traumatized by what was happening. I'm like, I can't look at this. I need to get away from this video. Humans are weird, yes. Strange talents should not be in public. I know. It would like reminded me of that show, My Strange Addiction, which I didn't really watch that show, but I had seen like clips of it and people would tell me about it, and I'm like, that's not something I need to watch. I know some people watch these weird reality shows to be like feel good about themselves, to be like, oh, at least I'm not like that, right? Like I'm not that crazy, I'm not that dramatic, I'm not that weird, and I don't need that in my life. It's very gross. That's way worse than regurgitation. It is. It is. Yeah, thank you, but no, I'm surprised he like sat there and continued talking to her. I would have been like, yeah, you know what? You're right. This isn't gonna work, and left. I mean, I'm surprised even to like respond at all. That's grounds to just be like, I need to leave. I mean, smelling your food is important. Like it's part of how you taste food. But not snorting it through your nose. That's gross. I've definitely thought that to myself. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how, but that's what she does. Maybe she avoids certain foods, like she doesn't do anything spicy because what the heck? I don't know, man. I don't know. But I thought I would share that trauma with you. So sorry. I gave a disclaimer. I don't think I want ice cream for a while now. Oh no. Yeah, it was disturbing. It would make sense if she had a medical condition that makes her do that. Yeah, but no, Rain. No, because if you have a medical condition that makes you do that, they put a hole in your throat and then stick a tube down your esophagus. That's how you address a medical condition. You don't snort it through your nose because that causes a different medical condition. Okay? That is for sure a red flag. Yeah. A big, giant one. Spicy would clear the sinuses. Yeah, like if you're like doing some cayenne. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like the fat, like if she's eating like meat, right? The fat going into your nose, not good. Not good. That's a red flag waving a red flag, yes. A red, wacky, inflatable tube man with red flags in his arms. And like I thought I had heard weird things, you know, like that guy who was dating his car. I don't know how you could possibly do that, but in his mind he was dating his car. So I'm like, I don't think that's a strange addiction. I think that's called mental illness and he needs help. Your nose bleeds if you look at food funny? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Isn't there someone who married their fridge? I don't know, but it's got to be like fake because you can't actually marry a fridge legally, right? Well, I mean, cayenne actually can, and like people will even dilute cayenne for like eye irritation too. I forget what it is, like the compound that helps, but yeah, no, thank you. Like you can eat spicy food the normal way to help with sinuses. I don't think you need it directly in your nose. Oh, actually, there's this lady I've been watching her videos lately because she's a comedian, but she tells these like funny stories about her neighbor and her neighbor's friend who are like very quirky. And I don't know if it's real or if she makes it up, and it doesn't matter if it's made up because it's entertaining. But Apparently, her neighbor, who is a Y2K bunker child, has all kinds of like home remedy stuff, right? And his friend was having some sinus issues, so he's like, "Oh, I know what will help that." He's like, "You just gotta snort some cayenne up there." So apparently, he makes like 2 whole rows of cayenne powder and then has his friend just like snort it up through each nostril, and then he was dying afterwards. I'm like, yeah, that's the appropriate response. I don't know why you would just go along with that. Like, that sounds like a good idea. Yes, Maddie, yes. Just like that. Several individuals have held ceremonies to marry their dogs. See, that's animal abuse, okay? Spiritual reasons? No. 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 That's mental illness, okay? You're not going to convince me otherwise. Those are very sad people and they need help. You cannot marry your animal. I don't even want to know what they're doing with the animals. Like that ongoing meme with the guy and girl walking, and the girl turns and checks out another girl's behind and gets busted. What? How do you legally marry a body pillow? It doesn't seem like that's allowed actually legally. Because it's not an actual entity, right? It's a thing. That's funny, Gunner. The guy that was dating his car sees a European sports car pass and then blushes and feels bad. Yeah, that's funny. Some guy married Hatsune Miku. I don't think so. Don't think so. Oh my god, cayenne up the nose hurts. Not that I know from personal experience. It sounds like you know from personal experience. I mean, like, if you're cooking and, like, some of the powder wafts up into the air, like, I can understand you're gonna end up probably breathing some of that in, but to, like, actually snort up, like, a whole ton of it, that's crazy. The animal pets as our babies, not our partners? Yes. Correct. They are pets. What a pet is. Yeah, there's crazy ones. I saw a woman that was living like a baby. I don't know how this is an addiction. Like, this doesn't seem like an addiction to me, but she wanted to live like a baby. So she would wear diapers and she slept in a crib and cried when she wet her diaper, like all that crap. And I'm just like, this is not an addiction. Someone please help these people. It's basically neglect. If somebody is responsible for their family members, like, that's neglect to not get them help. Thanks, Maddie. Totally something I needed in my life. Some of the comments aren't going through? Oh, that's okay. Sorry, I don't know. I wonder why. That's strange. Somehow she found a way to give him a name and an ordained minister to officiate the wedding. I just don't know how that could possibly be valid. Because it's made up. It's fraud. It's a kink, not an addiction, if you want to be an adult baby. See, that makes more sense. But even then, that seems more like a mental illness than a kink. I'm not trying to kink shame here. I think that literally that person is struggling with something. It's like hoarders, right? they're struggling with something that they're not able to work through on their own, and their way of doing that is hoarding stuff. Well, yeah, and a lot of times Maddie will involve another person or a thing, you know? Yeah. I said that, but it didn't go through? Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Maybe TikTok just has some weird banned words. Yeah, it's definitely not healthy. Definitely not healthy. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of strange stuff out there. I don't even remember what got me on that topic, but there you go. Uh, yeah, like it's one thing when somebody becomes elderly and they need to wear the diapers and they need care. Like that's normal. Somebody who's perfectly healthy and choosing to live that way, that's very different. It's very, very different. TikTok has many strange filtered words. All right, there you go. Good to know. Okay, on these happy notes, I'm going to go get ready for some rest. Okay. Go get some rest, Frost. Thanks for popping in, even for the weirdness. MIFTS. I don't know what that acronym means. I'm not up to date with the lingo, I guess. Testing? Okay. I had a few prospective suitresses a few years ago who kept calling me daddy. I was weirded out. That is weird. You do not give off those vibes, Maddie. Sorry if that sounds like an insult. It's not. That's just not you. I just want to be clear. It wasn't meant to be an insult. It's just. No. Some Baudry tales from the tavern tonight. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't, Maddie. Definitely don't. Someone was projecting that. Like, you fit more like the women that like the sensitive type, right? Like the ones that have more emotional intelligence and what's the word? I'm brain farting. People can be very weird when they're anonymous. Yes, they can. Or not anonymous, to be honest. You give off clown vibes. I don't think so. I don't think so. No, it's like when women are like, I want someone sensitive. Like, that's you, Maddie. They should. That's what they're looking for. You had an ex that was murdery. Yeah, I think you're just not very good at choosing women that you should date. I'm sorry. Again, not meant as an insult. It's just something that people get afflicted with sometimes because they can't see the signs. You know? I know someone in their 50s who has to wear an adult diaper because of urine incontinence. Yeah, that's a medical condition. Uh, It's a medical condition. People, yeah, unfortunately, they are blinded by love. Yes. Like, just wanting to have a partner, right? Like, you just want that company, a companion, and you're willing to look past some of those red flags and their faults, and then just eventually it can become a serious problem down the line. Yeah, yeah, just an observation, just pointing it out. Which is why I've told Maddie, I'm like, I think we need to vet anybody you decide to prospectively date in the future. I think crazy people see the niceness in you and they're like, hell's yes, not the client. Exactly. Exactly. Because people can be very manipulative. They can be very manipulative, especially people that are good at acting. Not me. I'm not subtle. My sister-in-law's dad used to get over his embarrassment of the adult diaper by loudly calling it his pappy nappy. Oh no, that's funny. That's actually hilarious. It is sad. It is sad, Rain. She tells it to your face and don't care. Look, I appreciate when someone is direct with me. Like, if I'm trying to be insulting, I would think that it's very obvious if I'm, which I don't really do. But if I care about somebody, I'm going to say something I'm observing if I think it can be helpful. I've been told that sometimes that's too blunt, and I apologize if it hurts anyone's fifis. I'm not good at judging when it's going to bother somebody because I'm not a sensitive person. So if you want to talk about emotional intelligence, mine is very small. It's very small. I care, I have compassion, but it doesn't help my filter, I guess. So I've been told.
I only ever insult people with pure sarcasm after they've already started.
Yes, I will definitely use sarcasm.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Because I get people all the time who will come in and talk crap in comments, and then I will respond with sarcasm. But if I say something that sounds insulting or mean, it is an assessment. I'm not trying to say it to be mean.
Right.
Like if I say you're a dumbass, I'm not saying that because I want you to feel bad about yourself. I'm saying that because you did something that justifies me calling you a dumbass.
Yeah, and you want, it's like constructive feedback. That's where my mind is at. If I think something mean, I don't say it.
I call it sandpaper.
Sandpaper?
Yes, because it's abrasive constructive feedback.
Yeah, you're just polishing out those
Right.
those rough edges that need softening. Castle speaking castle, yes. Yep. It's just, if I'm doing something stupid, I want my friends to just tell me, hey, you're doing something stupid. You're being dumb. You're making a bad choice. Because then I can be like, am I making a bad choice? Let me reevaluate this. Like, I don't get butthurt about it. I'm not going to be like, no, I'm right and you're wrong. Like, I want to make good decisions. So if I respect the person, I want to listen to what they have to say. And I don't like when people have beef with somebody and they don't just try to talk it out. Like, I hate the passive aggressiveness. And I can be passive aggressive, let me tell you. But only with people that have proven to me time and time again that they cannot be reasoned with. Yeah, you need to kick in the right direction. We all do at some point, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just not in the right headspace for a thing and we need someone to say, hey, might want to rethink that. Yeah, which is good, Maddie. Maddie is very good at taking constructive feedback. Something I greatly appreciate about Maddie. I have friends who say that. I used to not listen. I learned I should listen. It's important. It's an important lesson. Obviously, when you're, yeah, we can snooze when it gets lower. But it's important to learn that lesson that when your friends, especially, like you can tell when someone's a friend and not being a friend, like someone that's just being mean because they want to put you down, that's not a friend. But a friend that's telling you something difficult to hear from a place of trying to help you, that's when you should be listening. Even if you don't change your mind, right? At least think about it because they do mean well. And if you block your ears to any of that, your friends or your family that are trying to be helpful, you're probably not allowing yourself to learn from your mistakes and grow. Right, that makes sense, Maddie. If you're ever not listening, it's more likely the words that were used didn't click. Yeah. And I don't like the drama stuff. Like
Yeah.
if someone has a problem, like just tell me. Just say like, "Hey, the way you say this thing, it bothers me." And then I can apologize. I might not be able to do better, but I'll try. You know?
Well, and I can't imagine being less blunt. There, the reason my last relationship ended more or less is because she didn't like that I was straightforward. So I just ended up being quiet, and it built resentment.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if you don't want me to be honest, then I'm just not going to say anything.
Yeah. Like I had a friend that I tried to help in every possible way. Every possible way for 20 years. I wanted the best for her and she constantly made choices for herself that caused her self-harm and it was frustrating, but I still kept trying to be helpful. But I'm sure that there were many times where she just thought I was being mean or other people told her I was being mean, but eventually we decided to cut ties because I'm like, well, if you think I'm trying to just be mean and not be helpful because I see this pattern you have, then I don't need to be in your life and bother you anymore. I don't want to bother you. I want to be helpful. I want you to have a good life. And yeah, you don't always have to do what someone tells you, but if they're a true friend, you should probably consider it at least.
Yeah, well, absolutely, because no one is the master of your life but you. You have to decide what you want to do with your life. But at the end of the day, if you're going to have people around you and you're not going to listen to their opinions when they go counter to what you want, then you're not that person's friend. You're only keeping people around for validation then at that point, which is not what you do with friends.
Right. Yeah. I just have touch boundaries with certain people. My mom, I've got issues with touching me because she thinks it gives her unrestricted access to my privacy. Gotcha. And boundaries are important.
Well, yeah, you should have boundaries with everybody as long as they're not unreasonable. Because there is such thing as an unreasonable boundary.
Yeah.
Like I've known people who are like, "Oh, I don't want anybody to ever touch me in public." Like that's unreasonable. Like people are gonna bump into you if you're in a store or you're walking around in like a crowded train. You can't have the expectation that no one is gonna touch you ever. That's insane.
Hello, Hellshound. Welcome in. And yeah, Rain says you can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. Yeah, which I will also, that's another thing I'll say. I'll be like, do you want my advice? If you don't, then I won't
Well,
continue to say anything.
the first thing I said to Matty when he sent me all of his work, I was like, "Do you just want my reader's opinion, or do you want me to tell you how to improve it?"
Right.
Because if you just want my reader's opinion, I will give you a yes or no on these things. But if you want my professional opinion on it, it's going to be a lot more brutal, and it might hurt your feelings if you're not ready for it.
Yeah. Well, it's just, sometimes you can see your friends making decisions that you know doesn't align with what they've said they want and will cause a problem. But they're in a moment of whether it's like loneliness or just bad judgment, like just making the wrong call because it's fitting a immediate need, but doesn't fill a long-term need and ends up causing pain further down the line. Like that's that's when it's hard because they think, well, no, this is a thing that I want right now, but you know that later it's not. It ends up being very difficult to manage. Bear is a hugger, he says. When I get critiqued on my writing, I put my personal feelings aside. I want my writing to be better, and my emotions have to have no place in that. Yeah, because it's hard to hear.
Well, because the story comes from your emotion. Like the story, the characters, those come from your emotion. The craft has to come from objectivity. You have to be willing to put in the effort to be good at the craft. Which is why I've never released any books because I've always felt I'm not good enough at the craft to actually write something and put it out. Obviously, I'm being bullied into that no longer being the case.
I'm a bully. I bullied him into opening the tavern. I bullied him into doing lives with you guys. I'm a big bully.
As I say, don't let her tininess fool you. There's a big bully in me.
Yeah.
Big bullies come in tiny packages in this house.
Yes, the pandemic. I mean, definitely when people are sick, you don't want to be touchy. Yes, I'm a bully. Only in the most loving of ways. It's not your favorite thing. Yeah, I'm not much of a touchy person. It used to bother me more when I was younger, but now it's fine. Like, I don't get super weirded out by it. I just like have this understanding. Some people are like that. Like, my father is very touchy. My mother was not touchy even with her kids. So I think that's kind of where I got it from, because I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, right? And then learned like, no, it's kind of weird for maybe your mom not to be very touchy with you. It's aggressive motivation, not bullying. Yeah, I like Tyson's description of it.
Well, I don't mind touching, but I have to be aware of it. I've got a bit of a nervous tick, and if somebody sneaks up on me, there's a chance they're gonna get hurt. So I prefer like to know who's in the room if I'm gonna be touched.
Yeah. I've warned several people not to touch my feet, and they'll do it discreetly, thinking that they'll get away with it. For somehow my foot always finds that sensitive spot. You know what I'm saying? Just happens. I mean, I get that, Maddie. I get that. I won't do that to my son. I have awareness. But,
No,
your child is always your child.
I still force it. Like, it doesn't matter what he's doing. If he's leaving the room, if he's going to bed, he's leaving the room. I'm like, go hug and kiss your mother goodnight.
Yeah. But I'm not going to treat him like he's a baby.
No.
I'm not going to treat him like a little kid. Like, I understand he's basically a young adult now. I'm not a cuddles type of person, never have been. See, I wasn't either until Castle even with past relationships, like I had my line where I'd be like, okay, I need space, Now he probably needs space. He's just too comfy,
I'm all right. I'll do.
A kid is different, teaches respect, yes. Always ask before touching. I think that's important.
Yeah. Yeah, just in general, you shouldn't surprise me. Like, if you're familiar with somebody, you've known them for a long time, there's an understood dynamic there, but strangers especially, like, you shouldn't just assume that you can do something. It's disrespectful. Like, even in a Victorian, I generally tend to think of things in, like, the Victorian sense, right? Like, if you were a man and you walked up and you just grabbed a woman in the Victorian age, outside of like some social things where like with like prostitutes and stuff, obviously there's exceptions to all the rules. But in general, if you walked up and you just grabbed a woman in the Victorian age, every man in that street would beat you with their canes and top hats.
Well, yeah, you couldn't show your ankles at that time.
Yeah. Just in general, you should have cordiality and civility towards strangers and towards people in general when you're talking about like physical interaction.
Mila says, I have trouble remembering my son isn't 2 anymore. I know he's only 10, but there's a big difference and it's tough. And that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. There are just some things that need to change because it's for them to learn as well. Like they're growing up and adjusting, and you
Right.
have to do it with them.
I regularly have the conversation with Everett of, if you don't want me to treat you like you're 10, then act like you're 15.
Yeah, there you go. My doctors are now terrified to touch me because of everything going on. Yeah. My ex hated it because she said I'm like a teddy bear. Oh, so she wanted to cuddle with you because you're like a teddy bear, but you're like, no. Get away. Your babies will be your babies. All the bear cubs are adults and they're still my babies. Yeah, exactly. But you don't need to like treat them like babies, you know? There's a difference. Poor moms, it's hard. It is. I mean, I still, obviously I hug my child and sometimes I'll even hold his hand because I'm just showing like this is my affection. But I'm not overdoing it.
Yeah, it's weird for me because I obviously I became Everett's parental figure when he was older. Like he was already, what, 10 years old, 9 years old when I started being a parental figure. But there's still sometimes like Everett will fall asleep on me sometimes, and he's like because obviously she's very physically affectionate with him. So like if we're all watching a movie or something, sometimes he'll like fall asleep and roll over and cuddle me, and I'm like, it's I don't like it's not something
Yeah.
that bothers me, but it is weird for me because like I wasn't here when he was a baby,
Right.
so I've always known him as like being, and we weren't close when he was like 10, 11, 12 because I was the disciplinarian. So it took us a long time to get a relationship because I was the only one backing up his mom's rules.
Yeah.
So,
There was an adjustment period.
but now that he's older, like it's
Yeah, I know. I'm sure you do, Bear. You don't seem like the person that would treat your adult kids like children.
and it's me, right, Maddie?
Yeah. Maddie says I will only let one person ever cuddle me. Castle likes to make people feel uncomfortable.
Only mildly, though.
Yeah.
Only mildly uncomfortable.
I swear teenagers are more snuggly than preteens. My teenage cousins are more snuggly than my kids sometimes. It's sweet. I've been snuggled by them since they were babies. Yeah, I think there's something that happens where they realize they're getting older and they're not going to be able to do that forever.
So in our family, we call it the fleeting of childhood. There's a whole tradition around it where you have to be a little bit more understanding with sort of the big change that is going on for teenagers. And it's weird because it doesn't happen a lot in the Western world, and it definitely doesn't happen a lot in the Eastern world, like in Asian cultures. But children are used to being cared for, and they're used to being catered to, and for the most part, they're used to their lives being very comfortable, and they're transitioning into this thing of independence where things are expected of them, and the world is changing, and you can't be affectionate with your teenagers like you can with them when they're toddlers and when they're very young. And it's a real massive shift in how the world is interacting with them. And so we call it the fleeting of childhood when you get to like the 12, 11, 13, and you have to start realizing that the world's going to start treating you different. It's an important part in our childhood education.
That's funny, Milu. Like, you are a full-grown adult. You cannot curl up on my lap anymore. But yeah, like, I'll kiss my son on the mouth, like, even obviously under 10 years old, I did. And I've had people be like, oh, why are you doing that? And I'm like, because I'm his mom. Like, if you're seeing that in a sexual way, that's a you problem that you need to figure out. Because I'm obviously not thinking of it that way. Like, I just love my kid, and I want him to know I love him.
Yeah, I never found it really weird. Because like
6'3"? Oh my gosh, that's funny.
a couple of my uncles will still kiss my grandmother and my grandfather on the mouth as like a party. And
Because it's just like a peck. It's not like anything weird. It's
Yeah.
only weird if you make it weird.
yeah, like so
Don't make it weird.
I didn't realize that it was because like my grandfather, he's not an affectionate man, But like most people who he's familiar with, when he greets them, he'll either greet them with like a handshake or a kiss. And I didn't realize that was unusual until I was living separate from him. But like most people who him and my grandmother are familiar with, like they would greet them with
I think it's just
with a
different
kiss of
depending
sorts.
on the environment you grew up
Yeah.
in, like culturally and regionally. My cousins, myself, and my siblings were all brought up very close, and I think that's important. I still attack my kids with kisses all over their faces. Yeah. Which is totally valid. Like, you don't want them to get sick. Yeah.
I'm also fairly certain Castle could toss me. I couldn't toss you over the Pacific, but I could toss you into it.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it, but whenever I go to my sister's, we watch a movie or something, my nephews always try to dogpile me. And I will want to sit as close as possible. Yeah, like that's normal.
Yeah.
It's a normal thing.
Yeah, like my brother and I are best friends, and like we were very huggy when we see each other, and a lot like his wife finds that strange. His wife thinks it's weird how huggy he and I are.
Well, she's a very standoffish person.
Yeah.
She takes a very long time to warm up, like years.
Like her and Oonagh have only just recently started
Like
being
really
cordial
talking.
with each other.
Well, we were always cordial, but she wouldn't really engage in conversation for whatever reason. I'm behind because no family member mentions, I guess, is also banned. Huh, that's weird. That's so weird, Rain. I wonder why there's so many banned words.
Yeah, TikTok's live moderation goes back and forth between very flippant and very strict. Like I don't understand what is
TikTok. She's on TikTok, and I guess some of the messages she's sending,
aren't going
it's not
through.
coming through. But like mentioning family members, it's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. You nearly jumped in the Pacific when you were 4? Yeah. The water's just not clean here.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think affection, at least in a general sense, like obviously if you're walking up, well, no, I should say not even then, because like I have a bunch of male friends that I'll smack their butts when they walk by. So
Mew's like, come join the dark. I mean, Twitch side. Yeah.
but generally, like there is a line of affection where
Yeah, Bear, there's nothing weird about it unless you make it weird. So, like I streamed with a company I worked with in the past, like I streamed for them, and one of them told me they had gotten like a complaint because my son had come into the screen and I gave him a kiss on the mouth. And he's a little kid at this point, mind you.
he's like
And I'm
7.
like, I don't know if I believe it. I kind of believe I know who made this complaint. And again, it's a them problem. Like, if they see that as weird, it's because they have weird thoughts, okay?
Yeah.
Like, sorry, not sorry. Oh, yeah, that's weird. You can mention mom, but not grandma, niece, nephew? That's weird. Just join the dark side. We have cookies. Yes. Yes. Cookies. Just go through the whole list of the family members, Rain.
I love that Milu's mistype was Coke.
I know.
the dark side.
I know. That's funny.
Milu, you can't be implying that I'm going to be giving out hard narcotics to people if they join Twitch.
I told them all the story about the lady that drinks her food.
Why
with her
did you
nose.
do that? Why did you?
I don't remember, but I felt like I needed to share the trauma. So I gave them a disclaimer. I gave them a disclaimer. I said, plug your ears if you don't want to get grossed out.
Why did you have to spread that disease further?
I had to suffer through it. That's why.
But
I chose to suffer through
You
it.
made me suffer through it too.
I did because it broke my brain a little.
Yeah.
You know, like I had to share that. Tomorrow we have chocolate banana muffins. C's for cookie. That's good enough for me. Yeah.
She was being mean.
Yeah, I wasn't being mean. She wasn't being mean. And dark side cookies are the best. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can make some poppy seed muffins, Maddie. Is that narcotic enough for you? Some cookies or some scones so we can drink it with tea or coffee?
Disclaimer, Twitch, I do not distribute hard narcotics.
Yeah, no. Are you bribing me, Oonagh? I guess so.
Twitch mods.
Only a little bit. I just have an air fryer right now, but I think it would work.
Yeah, it has a cookie setting. It has a bake setting.
Oh, that's cool. I need to try it more. I fixed it. You did. Chicks flights. There you go. I don't have anywhere for you to stay now, though. The extra space we had upstairs has been taken by my sister. She's moving up there, so she doesn't have to be near my mom, because they fight like cats and dogs. And they've become tired of each other. I am very much not like my sister and my mother. We're very different.
Your sister loves drama and conflict.
Well, my mom likes drama and conflict. My sister just doesn't like to be impeded by anyone or anything, so... But she's the youngest, and it's kind of all of our faults because she was babied.
She's a baby.
Yeah. She's spoiled because we spoiled her. And I tried to change that when I realized it was a problem, but my parents did not. Yeah, best of luck to that situation. Yep. Okay, I love them, but sometimes they drive me crazy. I'm like, why you gotta make problems? Can't we just deal with these things like adults? My sister gets mad at me that I talk with my mother because she doesn't want to have anything to do with my mom. And I'm like, look, I know my mom's crazy, or our mom is crazy. It just is what it is. Can't change her, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna stop talking to her. I've always heard fights like cats and dogs, but every time we have cats and dogs in the house, they... Really? Well, it just doesn't always work that way. Like, especially, not super domesticized cats and dogs, I guess you could say. Yeah, that makes sense, Maddie. As siblings should, yes. You know, but it's... We had a big age gap, too, because my sister's 9 years younger than I am, and my brother's 7 years younger than I am. Territorial and food, cat and dog fights, yeah, definitely. And just like dogs would always have this desire to like chase after things, right? And then cats are more likely to hiss at you and fight back, and then it makes the dogs riled up even more. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. And the Coda had the opportunity to be friends with the cats because they're more than willing to lay with him, but he gets all like, what? No, I only want love from my parents. What are you doing in my bed? Get out of here. So, he does not have kitty friends. I'm like, you could have gotten attention from somebody. I think I fell asleep during stream long enough to be a nap. Oh no, do we need to put more stuff in your ear? Itchy? Itchy? Oh, itchy. Yeah, right there. Yeah, it's itchy, huh? Don't scratch yourself up. Yeah, your ears are dirty. Sir. Yeah, California is expensive. And there's not a lot of Airbnbs out here because of the regulations that there are now. Your cat always sleeps with you on the bed. Yeah, the cats sleep with us on the bed. They're allowed. The dog is not allowed on the bed because he's too hairy and he's too big. So I'm like, you could have slept with the cats, but you chose no. It's dark brown, so they need to be cleaned. I have some eardrops. Whew. It's crazy. So much money. Flying to Greece is cheaper. Yeah, it depending on where you're flying into, it does make a difference. So, all right, it is getting late, my friends. I love talking with you, but I think I should skedoodle because I do have some video editing I need to do before bed. So, Falcor's on. Okay, I think we can do a raid for Falcor then. She will do some reading and some ASMR stuff, and you can see her little guinea pigs. So let's see. Let me find the raid button. Here we go. Da-da-da, following. There we go. Maddie's going Greek nerd, yes. So thank you guys for joining me this evening for some more reading, and hopefully we'll see you guys on Tuesday. And if you are here on Twitch, please go and say hello to Falcor and give her some good vibes, and then have a good night or day, depending on where you are. Good night, Rain. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night. We'll see you again soon. Ba-ba-da-bum. Good night. Good night. And we're gonna go raid Falcor. Tuesday, yes.